So this is attempting to install an SSD in an old, weird, and useless Sony Vaio TX-630p. I don't really know what to call it. It's kind of a pre-ultrabook, high-performance subcompact, not quite a netbook, but not a full notebook either, from the early 2000s. The SSD, quote-unquote, that I'm trying to install is actually a compact flash card, because this is an IDE computer, and the installation, spoiler alert, doesn't exactly go according to plan, and neither of the two things I wanted to accomplish, one, replacing the drive with a solid-state media, and two, restoring the original Windows XP image, go according to plan.
So let me just start filming in the middle of a project, because I thought this wouldn't be a very interesting project. And frankly, I just kind of started it on a whim on a Friday night, when I should probably be doing homework. This is my Sony Vaio TX-630p. I got this for free. Somebody was throwing it out. It's very old. It's supposed to run Windows XP. I put various different light Linux distributions on it. It's a very strange laptop. As you can see, the CD drive takes up the vast majority of the space inside of it. The fact Sony managed to cram a CD drive in here is very interesting. But it's all apart right now. And it's not apart because it broke. And very, very luckily for me, I didn't actually kill anything yet while I took it apart. I did manage to confirm that it does power up. I plugged back in the power button. The power button's over here with this trackpad assembly, and just momentarily booted it up to make sure I didn't kill anything, because I just started taking out screws and kind of pulling at things, because there's no teardown guide for this. It's a very obscure little computer. But basically, what I want to do is I want to eventually put Windows XP back on it, probably, but I also want to SSD mod it just for the heck of it. I figured I would probably have to buy some hardware to do that, so I took it apart, and you can see the hard drive's already gone. Let me pause for a moment to grab it, because I just realized I put it somewhere else. Okay, so here's the drive that I pulled out of it, and I don't have anything for reference other than everything else around me, but I pretty instantly realized that this drive is way smaller than a normal drive, as I kind of suspected it would be, given the general diminutive size of this laptop. So I went, oh, you know what? I have some iPod SSD modding parts that I bought after watching Dank Pods on YouTube and then never used, because iPods aren't actually that useful. This isn't that useful either, but it's more useful than an iPod. So I was like, oh, let me grab, I have a compact flash to a SD card. So let me grab that. And it was pretty quickly apparent that this wouldn't work. And I was like, oh, you know why this won't work? Because this is bigger than the compact flash micro drives that like the iPod minis use. I was like, this is a 1 1/8 inch drive. And I'm like, well, some iPods use those as well. And I was like, I originally was intending to mod one of those. I was like, I think I bought the adapter for that as well. So I went downstairs and I grabbed it. And it's CF to 1 1/8 IDE, which is exactly what this is. And lo and behold, it does fit. You can see it does fit. So we can pop this in and get the CF card slot. I can't pop it in with one hand. And then I'll have to grab an SD card for this. We can pop this in, and then we'll have an SSD, or really an SD card, which is much slower than an SSD, but, I mean, honestly, these drives aren't particularly fast, so it should hopefully keep up. Yeah. This computer's hilarious. So the DVD drive takes up so much of it. This is the little heatsink here. There is a heatsink. You can't see it. You don't have enough light behind these fins. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny heatsink there. But it's like smaller than the heatsink in the Nintendo Switch. Fan's probably about the same size as the Switch fan. I think I have a Switch fan somewhere in stock. Probably in this drawer. I don't know. I need to organize my parts better. I've done a few Switch repairs. I do have a Switch fan around somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But that's about the same size, I think. Wi-Fi card's massive. You have this nice early Wi-Fi card. Yeah, it's a weird computer. Trackpad plugs in there. That's the connector I'm actually most worried about it breaking. It's prying to get that up. The ribbon cable, there wasn't really a great place to grip on it from, so I ended up kind of praying from the ribbon a little bit, which isn't great, but hopefully it's fine. The other connectors are pretty robust, I think. This one I yanked out accidentally when I was tearing it apart. That's the one for the power button. That's part of why I powered this up, just to make sure I didn't break anything. But that's fine. The keyboard one has a little... this one doesn't even have a catch or anything. So it's fine if you yank it up, I guess. It's I took it out gently the second time, though. And then the keyboard one has a catch, but I was able to, well, catch the catch before I pulled it. So anyways, I'm going to find some more parts. And, yeah, we'll see how this goes. The most annoying part about this, though, is this is terrible at USB booting. So we will be taking advantage of this CG drive. And by terrible at USB booting, I mean the BIOS has an option for USB boot, but I haven't been able to get it to USB boot from a single drive ever. So I assume that option's just broken. I have to use plop if I want it to USB boot, despite the fact that I've had this is a Pentium M, and I've had two other Pentium M systems at various points in time, both considerably less interesting than this one. One of them was really, really not interesting. It was like a low-end, big, clunky Toshiba. That one got taken apart. One of them's a subcompact Dell, but it's less interesting than this because even though it's subcompact, it's not as subcompact as this one is. This is like really a marvel of engineering. I still have that Dell, but it's what's it called? It's forgettable compared to this one. That's for sure. Yeah, anyways, I might need to cut these, what's it called? I don't want to cut the ones in the Vaio. I'll probably try and cut the ones here, but these seem to actually be getting in the way of this sliding on. But I don't think that should be a problem. I mean, I don't know. I would feel kind of bad if I killed this, because it's such a weird little computer. But honestly, like, it's kind of a more weird collector piece than anything else. And even as a collector piece, this one is not in good condition. I mean, there's not a lot of them around, so I'm sure it's still kind of worth something, but whatever. It's more fun to play around with. I'll try my best not to break it, but I don't know. I really, really don't want to break it. I would be annoyed if I broke it, but I'm also not going to lose too much sleep over it. Anyways. Bye for now. I'll be back soon. So this is going to be super, super disjointed, because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I didn't film between here and now. But basically, I was having lots of problems getting the card, the compact flash card recognized at all, and that's because I had the adapter in upside down. It had to go in like this, not the other way around. I was originally using this really cheap SD card to compact flash adapter, and this was very, very slow. I installed Windows XP on it, but it was like the install took forever, and I just wasn't confident in the throughput of this drive. So I bought a 32 gigabyte actual proper compact flash card made by SanDisk that advertises a throughput of 130 megabytes per second, which we're clearly not getting. We're getting 35 megabytes per second, give or take. But I don't know. That's I think the IDE bus saturates around like 40 or 50, so 35 isn't actually that bad. Compact Flash is kind of on the IDE bus, but I'm sure it's been enhanced at some point because it's a standard that's been around forever. I actually don't know that much about Compact Flash. So anyways, I got that card. The problem is I was able to successfully install Windows XP on this card, but I can't get either my XP Live CD or my XP installer CD to boot with this drive installed. And this computer's really weird about booting from USB. And I'm running low on CDs, so I couldn't actually burn. I wanted to burn a Linux CD, but I tried burning it on one of these Philips ones. And I also used one of these Philips ones originally for my Windows XP. Actually, no, this is a verbatim. Maybe I used a verbatim originally for my Windows XP installer. Anyways, I think some of my optical media is going bad. Because I've This is my second attempt to burn a Windows XP installer. The first one didn't work. And I tried to burn a Ubuntu installer to see if I could format the disk with that, and that didn't work. And then I was out of CD. Well, I still have a couple of the Philips ones, but I didn't want to keep burning the Philips ones. Because I think I have a Philips one somewhere that I attempted to burn. What's it called onto? That didn't work. Anyways, one of these verbatim ones does work. One of these verbatim ones is an attempt to rebuild the original recovery image from this. Because, fun fact, this original hard drive that I have here had a recovery partition on it, and I backed it up with DD, except I didn't back up the partition information. I just backed up the files. So I have the because I used DD the wrong way. So I was able to extract the file from the DD image even without the proper partition information by following some guide online. But it's not bootable no matter what I do. I just can't get it to boot. So I attempted to build a bootable image, and then I burnt it to a CD. And it boots, but I still don't know if it'll completely complete the recovery. So I have that on a DVD, because that image is like almost 4 gigabytes. And then I have a stock Windows XP installer on a CD here. So anyways, I don't know which of these two verbatims is right, because I have two of them and they're both unlabeled, but one of these two verbatim DVDs is correct. Anyways, I'm going to let dban do its thing, and hopefully that fixes it, because I think this, what's it called? I bought this compact flash card used, and I think it was probably formatted weirdly, and that was causing me issues with Windows XP, fingers crossed, so hopefully debanning it will make Windows XP happy. And I have plop in the drive right now, and dban's loading off the USB, because this thing won't USB boot, which is really, really annoying, because it's new enough. It's like from the first era where I would expect USB booting. I've had several other computers this age, from several different manufacturers, and they've all USB booted. But this one won't, without plop. So that's annoying. Anyways, I'll just let this run for a while. Bye.
So dban rather frustratingly didn't work, but what did end up working was using this USB card reader and formatting the card to FAT32 in a modern system. Once that was done, I was finally able to successfully load up the Windows XP installer without the system freezing. Because, again, what would happen before I formatted the card was that the system would start to load up the Windows XP installer, and it would freeze at a pretty early step. But here you can see it's going on for a while, and it does eventually load it successfully. And I am able to run the installer. However, even though I am able to run the installer, and I think everything's working and I get really excited, it actually isn't. I can't boot into Windows. So that's the next problem to try and solve. I read an Instructables article from 2004 of somebody doing this same kind of mod in a mini desktop PC, and they had the issue of it not booting Windows XP, and they recommended solving it by installing Ubuntu, because they said Grub would boot. However, even after going out of my way to download and create a bootable Ubuntu 12.04 disk and install it, the device still would not boot from the compact flash card. So I reinstalled the original hard drive and decided to try and restore the Windows XP image. So my image is available online if anyone wants to try their luck with this. I'll put the link in the description. But basically what I tried to do to make it bootable, because I tried everything to make it bootable. I tried writing it to USB. Again, this thing doesn't USB boot, so that was a stupid idea. But I tried burning it just to a disk. I tried writing it to a USB and booting with plop, and all this stuff, USB FAT32, USB NTFS, blah, 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 blah. It just wasn't working because I was just putting files on a disk and whatever, and So I decided to try and make it work by downloading a bootable Windows XP ISO installer and merging the two things together, and then building a new ISO using IMG burn or image burn, and then writing that. And that kind of worked-ish. It booted, it let me install Windows XP, but it didn't recover the original image. Fortunately, me having all the files of the recovery image means I had all the drivers, so I didn't have to search for drivers, and I got everything working, and that's cool. But I really, really wanted the original recovery image, because, like, the computer has a cool special mode, like a media mode, where it boots into a little embedded OS to play media, without doing a full boot up, and I don't have that, and it would be really cool if I could make the recovery actually work, but I can't seem to do that, and that annoys me a lot. Anyways, the computer did work at the end. I'll show you a picture of it running Windows XP and Internet Explorer. Okay, and one other thing, it was reassembled successfully. All of these pictures of the laptop I've been using throughout the thing that you've probably seen way too many times because I needed lots of filler visuals, were taken after all of these experiments were done. It all went back together properly. Everything works. I didn't kill the laptop. I just completely messed up the recovery image, which I'm still kicking myself over, but it's in theory maybe fixable because all the files do exist. I just don't have the skill set to fix it currently.